Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Jacqueline and this is Low Carb Lish. If you're new here, this is the channel where we make low carb versions of our favorite high carb foods, try to reverse our type 2 diabetes and keep our blood sugars low. If you're not new here, welcome back. The last video I made, I told you guys that I've been working on a cake recipe for a year or more, and that I was getting ready to publish a video on it, and today is the day. So the cake that we're making is a low carb version of Hummingbird cake. And I know a lot of you probably know what Hummingbird cake is, but for those of you that don't know, the high carb version of it is a cake that's made with lots of deliciously sweet, sugary batter that's got nuts, coconuts, pineapple. Some people even put maraschino cherries in it. We're not doing that. But I have found a really good substitute, and I think you guys are really going to love it. So while I'm making this, it's going to look like it's a little bit involved, but like Jenny said, it's a lot worth it. So it's not really that hard. There are just a few ingredients in here, but in order for me to get the texture right and the moisture factor of the cake right, it's all of this stuff's involved, but I'm telling you guys, it is worth it. So the first thing I'm going to do is tell you what we're going to put in here, and don't worry about the amounts because I'll have that down in the description for you guys like always. But this cake just has a half a cup of almond flour in it. It's got 3 tablespoons of allulose and 2 tablespoons of monk fruit in it. And I'm going to put just probably 3 to 4 drops of stevia in here, because what I have found out is when I mix these sweeteners together, it completely eliminates that sweet cooling effect that we get sometimes with some of these sweeteners. So this is what we're going to use to sweeten these, and they're not overly sweet, but they're sweet enough. We're going to have some melted butter. This is a cup of the apple pie filling that I make, and I will leave a link up above, either here or here, plus down in the description in case you don't know what that is or you haven't made it before. This is actually made with squash, and if you've never tried it before, I know it sounds weird, but it works. So we're going to use the apple pie filling to replace the pineapple that goes in a regular Hummingbird cake. And honestly, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between that and apples. We've got half a cup of chopped nuts here, and I've got a mixture of pecans and walnuts, and I do that just because I like the way the two of them taste together. You can totally go with just pecans or just walnuts, whatever you want to do. If you use a different kind of nut, you're going to change the flavor of the cake a little bit, and you also need to make sure that you're checking your macros and everything for the carbs, because it will change that too. Then I've got half a cup of unsweetened coconut flakes that I've put in my chopper just like I did with the nuts and chopped it up a little bit. I've got half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I know that doesn't sound like much cinnamon, but there's cinnamon in the apple, and this was another thing that took me a while to figure out. Because there's cinnamon in the apple pie filling, you don't need too much in the cupcakes themselves. I've got 2 eggs here. We've got a half teaspoon, I think it's either half teaspoon or teaspoon, it'll be in the description, of baking powder, and I've got 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to mix this up, and today we're going to make cupcakes out of these. And I call them cupcakes, but they're really like little mini cakes, because if you've ever had a Hummingbird cake, you know that it's a dense, nice, chewy cake. And I do this for 2 reasons. One reason is this recipe is sticky. So if you decide that you are going to make one cake out of it, make sure that you line your pan with some parchment paper so you can get it out of the pan easily. This solves that problem, and it's also great for portion control. And so I made these over the weekend, the holiday weekend. I had company in and out all weekend, which was great. And I made these in the little cupcake things, and they were a huge hit. So they're also great to make if you're going to a family reunion or a picnic or something. It's a great way to serve this, low carb option. So this recipe, it drove me crazy because I cannot get it to fit into 6, and finally I just gave up. I said, well, what's wrong with it making 7? So that's what this recipe makes. And I've got these little silicone liners that I like to use. Like I said, this recipe is a little sticky, so if you're not going to use the silicone liners, you can use the paper liners in your tray instead. And I'll leave a link here if you're interested in these. I just got these off of Amazon. They weren't expensive at all. And I'll leave a link here in case y'all are interested in getting some of these. They make life so much easier, and they peel beautifully off of this particular recipe. So that's what we're going to put in it, and let's get started, okay? Alright, so like I said, we've got the almond flour. Now y'all know how I feel about sifting your flours, and so I just put this in a little sieve and sift it, because it really does make a difference when you're baking stuff, to sift the flour and everything. And you're going to end up with these little balls of flour that are left, and just go in with clean hands, push them through your sieve, and just make sure you get as much as you can off, because like I said, we're only working with half a cup here, but that's all we need for this recipe. Alright, and so the next thing is I'm going to just start adding in my other dry ingredients. And so we're going to go in with the coconut and with the nuts, and I'm going to stir these up just a little bit. Get this stirred up and going. And then we're going to go in with the allulose and the monk fruit. And like I said, I've just got both of them in the same bowl, but you could totally just do it separately if that floats your boat. Alright. And go in here. I've got a little piece right here that, let's see here, a little hard piece. We're going to get rid of that. Sometimes these sweeteners, if they get a little bit of moisture in the bag, you'll get a little chunky piece once in a while. It's hard, and it's fine to use it to dissolve in drinks or something, but it's not going to work for baked goods. I'll just pull it out and move on. Okay, and so now I'm going to add the cinnamon in. And like I said, this is only half a teaspoon of cinnamon, because we've got so much cinnamon in the apple pie filling that we're putting in here. Alright, so I've got all of my dry ingredients mixed in well. And you do want to mix your dry stuff up before you start putting the wet ingredients in. Just make sure everything's coated. And it's also helpful when you're doing this, because you're coating the nuts, and that helps them not to like sink into the batter and stuff. So get that done here. And then we're going to add our eggs in. Go in here. Make sure we get all of those in. And, oh, I forgot my baking powder. It's alright. It's still going to work. Totally forgot my baking powder, but that's okay. It's still going to work. I'll just stir it in here with the eggs and everything. And then we'll put the rest of the wet ingredients in. And just make sure we get it mixed up nice and totally mixed in there, and we'll be fine. That's one good thing about when you're baking and stuff. Most of the time, if you make a mistake like that, it's easily fixed. Okay. So then I'm going in with our apple pie filling. And like I say, I'll leave a link for this. For those of you that have never been to my channel before, or you're not familiar with that recipe, this is not made with apples. It's made with summer squash. And I know it sounds really weird, but I promise you, if you make that recipe, you will not be able to tell that it's not apples. So I'm going to get that all stirred in here. And this is looking just exactly like it's supposed to look right now. Get everything stirred in. Alright, and then I'm going to go in with the vanilla. And then 2 tablespoons of cream. We've got 1 tablespoon of melted butter here. And I made this a few times without the butter, and I wasn't getting the moist cake flavor that I was looking for. So I decided to try 1 tablespoon of butter, and that was the magic trick. Alright, so get all of this stirred in. And the last thing I'm going to put in is the stevia drops. And the reason that I wait till the end to put the stevia drops in is because we're not going to use that many of them. But I want all the other sweeteners incorporated with the rest of the dough, and or the cake batter, I should say. And I want to make sure that I can get these drops stirred in, because we're only doing like 3 or 4 drops. And I mean, I'm literally just doing, and that's it. That is it. And then stir that up. And like I say, that takes care of all of that cooling effect that we get sometimes when we're using these artificial sweeteners. or natural sweeteners that leave a little taste. So now these particular silicone molds, we're going to be filling up to the top of these, right at the top. And these, because they have the baking powder in them, they will rise a little bit. They're not going to rise crazy, but they will rise a little bit, and they're going to make a nice size little cupcake when they're done. I was so happy. I was so happy when I got this recipe to work, and I was really happy when I served it to people and they were like, oh my goodness. So you know when you get oh my goodness that the company's happy with it. So we'll put this in here. I'll come in here with a paper towel in a minute and clean that up. I used to love Hummingbird cake when I was still eating high carb food. Oh my goodness, y'all. It was one of those things that got me. And I was not portion control thinking at the time, if you know what I mean. Alright, so we got this. And I just use a little ramekin since I've just got the one little cupcake holder for this. And so I just use a little ramekin here. And I go in with my spatula to get all of the rest of the batter out. And just fill this little ramekin cup up as well. Alright. So I'll be right back. Let me get a paper towel. I'm going to clean this stuff I spilled here off of there, because if you don't and you leave it on there, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to burn on the pan, and it doesn't smell very good when you're baking. So, like I said, home cooks make mistakes. I am definitely a home cook, but we do the best we can. So, oh, got a little spot there too. So, this is what you're looking for. Just fill your little cups up. The same thing if you're going to use paper. You know, you're going to fill them up and kind of round them off a little bit. And my little ramekin has got its little cupcake in there. The oven has been preheating at 350, so I'm going to pop these in the oven. They cook. My oven, it takes 27 to 28 minutes. Your oven, you may do 30 depending on your oven, but it shouldn't take longer than 30 minutes. So we're going to pop them in the oven, and when we come back, we're going to make the icing that goes with them, and before you know it, we'll be eating Hummingbird cake. Okay, y'all, so I think these are about ready. I pulled the little one in the ramekin out. Yep, these are done, y'all. I'm going to double check them, but I can just tell by looking at them that they're done. You want to do a toothpick test in the middle of them. I usually use my little knife. But either one will work. You just want to dip down in the center, make sure it comes out clean, and they're done. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. We're done. Alright guys, so I'm going to let these cool down now, and I'll be back in just a minute. We're going to go ahead and make the cream cheese icing for them and get that in the refrigerator so that when these cool down and it's ready to go, we'll be frosting and eating Hummingbird cake. Okay y'all, so now we're going to make the cream cheese icing. These are really delicious even without icing. So if you wanted to load them up and take them to a picnic or something and not worry about your frosting getting soft in the heat and everything, they are really good without the frosting. But if you want to add a little extra decadent deliciousness, we're going to do a really simple cream cheese heavy whipping cream frosting, and we'll get it in the refrigerator and let it chill, and then we'll put them on in just a little while. So they're delicious. And I apologize in advance for the noise. I'm trying to figure out some new software that I got that's going to help me with my editing, and hopefully before too long on stuff like this you won't have to listen to it. And I'm not going to make you listen to it the whole time it's ready, but I just want you to see the cream cheese is at room temperature. It's super soft, and all I'm going to do is I've got monk fruit and allulose in here again, and I have powdered the monk fruit, and the way you do that is just take your regular monk fruit and stick it in a coffee grinder or something and grind it up, and you'll get powdered monk fruit from that. So I've mixed the monk fruit and the allulose in here, and the first thing we're going to do is put the cream cheese and the sweeteners together, and again mixing the two so that they don't have that sweet cooling thing. And this is just a few little drops of stevia with toffee flavor. I'm going to do 5 drops. And I got this, I think I got this off of Amazon. It's called Sweet Drops, and it's English toffee flavor. And it adds just a little bit of a caramel flavor to this icing, which is like a perfect complement to this cake. So we're going to mix this up and get this going. And then when I get through mixing this up, I'll come back and we'll put the whipped cream. This is heavy whipping cream, and we'll add that in, and then you'll see what the icing's going to look like, and then we'll stick it in our fridge to cool. So let's get going on that. And I'm going to start off on a low speed. Okay, y'all, so I've got this whipped up. Now, this icing is not going to be like stiff peak like buttercream icing, because you've got cream cheese and whipping cream in it, but it is going to thicken up, especially when you put it in the refrigerator, which is what I'm getting ready to do. And I used 1/4 cup of whipping cream in this, and I think if you wanted to do like 2 tablespoons of whipping cream instead, that it would get a little stiffer peaks for you. So you might want to try that. And then if it's not to your liking, you put the other 2 tablespoons of the heavy whipping cream in. But I like it like this, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to pop this in the refrigerator, and probably in about half an hour we'll be back and we'll be frosting cupcakes. Okay, y'all, so the icing has been in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes, and it's gotten nice and thick, as you can see. And we're just going to ice these little cakes and pop them back in the refrigerator. And they're going to be fabulous. And like I say, this particular thing that I made is more like a glaze, really, which I really like, but I have made these with the icing a little bit thicker, and it's really nice too. So like I say, if you prefer that, just don't add quite as much whipping cream to yours, and you'll get a thicker icing on yours. But even this glaze-like icing, when I pop it back in the refrigerator, it's going to thicken right up on these. It just doesn't stand up to heat. So like I say, if you're taking these on a picnic where you want to have them outside, just take them unfrosted, and they're still going to be really delicious. Or if you've got a cooler, you can put them in. They might do all right in that. I haven't taken them out on a picnic yet, so I can't exactly say how that would do. But I'm thinking it would probably be alright if you had them, you know, in an ice cooler. Or just make them thicker for that and see how that works out for you. Alright, so the last part's on here. And I'll have all your macros. I'm going to put your macros down in the description. And I'm going to do them with and without the icing, so don't worry about that. I'll figure that out for you and put all that down there. And this, guys, is the Hummingbird cakes, and they are wonderful. So in a minute, we'll be doing a taste test. Okay, y'all, so I've taken my cupcakes out of the refrigerator, and I just want to peel this little silicone cup off of it so you can see how nice they brown and don't stick to those. They're amazing little things. So I'll put a link down there for you guys if you want to go on Amazon and get some of them. I really like them. So let's have a taste test. First thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to show you the inside of this cake. And if you are familiar with Hummingbird cakes, then you know this is spot on for the texture of the cake. And it is so delicious, y'all. Let me take a bite here. You guys, no kidding. So good. I'm gonna get coffee. Well, y'all, I'm getting ready to have my dinner, and I'm gonna have my cupcake for my dessert tonight. But I think you guys are gonna love this if you give it a try. And I just thank y'all for coming and hanging out with me today. Hi, Miss Macy. And I'm getting ready to get her a puppy ice cream because her birthday video is going to be up too. So you'll see she had her turkey cupcake with cauliflower mash icing, and got to open her present. So she hasn't had her birthday ice cream yet. So I'm going to get that and give that to her. If you'll hang on just a second and let me get it, I'll be right back. Mommy's got your ice cream. Would you like to have your ice cream? Would you like to have your puppy ice cream? Birthday girl, there you go. You take it. There you go. Oh my gosh, she is such a mess, y'all. That dog is bringing so much joy into my life, it's not even funny. So anyway, I hope you guys will try this, and like I said, I really appreciate y'all coming to hang out with me today. I'm sending y'all nothing but love and hugs and kisses. If you have not subscribed, I would appreciate it if you think about doing so. And whether you subscribe or not, please hit that like button because it does help people that have just been diagnosed to find my channel and find the help that they need. So have a fantastic week, and I will see you soon. Love you guys. Bye.